The 1939 Lincoln Wheat penny is one of the most iconic and widely recognized coins in U.S. history. Its historical significance, simple yet effective design, and widespread use make it a favorite among coin collectors. Though it may appear as an ordinary 1-cent coin to the casual observer, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat penny carries with it the story of a nation on the cusp of major global and domestic changes. The Lincoln Wheat penny series, designed by Victor David Brenner, debuted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The series continued until 1958, making the 1939 penny part of a long-running tradition that connected American coinage to one of the nation's most revered figures. The 1939 penny retains the classic wheat penny design, which makes it instantly recognizable to collectors and enthusiasts. The obverse features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. Lincoln's image was the first portrait of a U.S. president to appear on a circulating coin. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty, while to his right is the motto, "In God We Trust," introduced during the Civil War era. The date 1939 appears to the lower right of the bust, alongside the potential mint mark, D or S, indicating the coin's place of production. The reverse of the penny displays two wheat stalks flanking the denomination 1 cent in bold letters, giving the coin its nickname, Wheat Penny. Above the denomination is the phrase, E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many one, symbolizing the unity of the states. Below it, the words United States of America complete the reverse design. The wheat stalks are a nod to American agriculture and symbolize the strength and prosperity of the country. The year 1939 was a significant period in both U.S. and world history. The United States was still grappling with the effects of the Great Depression, although the economy had begun to recover under President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs. At the same time, across the Atlantic, the world was on the brink of World War II. Germany invaded Poland on September 1, 1939, prompting Britain and France to declare war, and by the end of the year, the world was engulfed in conflict. Although the U.S. would not officially enter World War II until 1941, the events of 1939 had a profound impact on the country. The production of the Lincoln Wheat penny that year represents a time of relative calm before the U.S. entered the global conflict. As such, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat penny serves as a tangible connection to a crucial moment in history before the massive social and economic changes brought on by the war. The 1939 Lincoln Wheat penny was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each of these mints produce slightly different quantities of the penny, and their mint marks, if present, can be found just below the date on the obverse. Like all Lincoln Wheat pennies minted between 1909 and 1942, the 1939 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition would change in 1943, when copper was needed for the war effort, leading to the minting of steel cents for a single year. As such, the 1939 penny was part of the last few years of traditional copper coinage before World War II brought significant changes. Most 1939 pennies are common in circulated condition due to their large mintage, and they can be easily found today for minimal cost, typically valued between 15 cents and 50 cents in worn condition. However, uncirculated or mint state coins can fetch higher prices, ranging from $5 to $30, depending on their grade. Collectors prize coins that retain their original mint luster and sharp details, particularly in Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Error coins from 1939, while not as prevalent as in other years, are always of interest to collectors. Some common errors include double die obverses, where the date or lettering appears to be doubled due to a misaligned die strike, and off-center strikes, where the coin is misaligned during the minting process. These errors are rarer and can significantly increase the coin's value, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. The Lincoln Wheat penny series is known for its strong symbolism. Abraham Lincoln, the president who preserved the Union during the Civil War, stands as a symbol of resilience and unity. The wheat stalks on the reverse represent the strength and prosperity of the United States, which was particularly relevant in the late 1930s as the country recovered from the Great Depression. While the 1939 penny is not particularly rare in circulated condition, It is a key date for collectors who seek to complete a set of Lincoln wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958. The appeal of the penny lies not in its rarity, but in its connection to history, both as a representation of Lincoln's enduring legacy and as a coin minted during a tumultuous period of global conflict and economic uncertainty. The Lincoln wheat penny, including the 1939 issue, remains one of the most beloved coins among collectors. Its long run from 1909 to 1958 means that many collectors seek to build a complete set of pennies from each year and mint, a task that can be both challenging and rewarding. The enduring appeal of the wheat penny series lies not only in its historical significance, but also in its symbolic design, which continues to resonate with Americans today. The penny also marked a turning point in U.S. coinage design. Prior to the Lincoln cent, U.S. coins typically featured allegorical figures like Lady Liberty. The decision to place Abraham Lincoln, a real historical figure, on the coin was a departure from tradition and has since become the standard for U.S. coinage. Today, Lincoln remains on the penny, with only minor changes to the reverse design since the wheat penny era ended in 1958. The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny is much more than just an ordinary 1-cent coin. It represents a critical period in U.S. history, both in terms of domestic recovery from the Great Depression and the onset of World War II. With its simple yet effective design, the coin reflects the resilience and strength of the nation at a time when those qualities were desperately needed. For numismatists and history enthusiasts alike, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny offers a fascinating glimpse into the past, making it a valuable and cherished piece of American numismatic history. The 1940 wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, holds a special place in U.S. coin history. Minted during a time of significant political and economic transformation both in the United States and around the world, the 1940 penny belongs to a long-running series of Lincoln cents that first appeared in 1909. This essay explores the design, history, and interesting facts surrounding the 1940 wheat penny, delving into its significance for collectors and its role in U.S. coinage. The 1940 wheat penny is part of the Lincoln cent series, which was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. This series marked the first time a U.S. president was featured on a circulating coin, and the design has remained one of the most iconic in American numismatics. The obverse of the 1940 wheat penny features a bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Lithuanian-born sculptor Victor D. Brenner. The inclusion of Lincoln on the coin was significant for multiple reasons. Not only was he one of the most revered presidents in U.S. history, but Lincoln also symbolized the nation's ideals of freedom and unity, especially during the turbulent times of the 20th century. The reverse of the 1940 penny shows two stalks of wheat surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, which is why these coins are commonly referred to as wheat pennies. Beneath this is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, reflecting the unity of the states. The 1940 wheat penny was minted primarily from bronze, a composition consisting of 95% copper, 5% zinc, and tin. This composition was standard for pennies from 1909 until 1942, at which point the U.S. Mint had to make adjustments due to the need for copper in World War II, leading to the brief production of steel cents in 1943. The 1940 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. Each of these mint locations produced millions of coins, with the total mintage for the year reaching over 780 million. While the 1940 penny is not especially rare, certain varieties and conditions can increase the value of individual coins. The 1940 wheat penny was minted just 1 year before the United States entered World War II following the attack on Pearl Harbor. Although the U.S. had not yet joined the war in 1940, the global conflict was already reshaping the world economy. This penny serves as a reminder of the time leading up to America's involvement in the war, during which the nation was preparing for significant shifts in production, workforce, and resources. With over 780 million pennies minted in 1940, these coins were widely circulated and are relatively easy to find even today. However, despite their high mintage, wheat pennies in excellent condition especially those with rare variations, can still fetch premiums among collectors. This is because many of the coins from this era have experienced significant wear after decades of circulation. The 1940 wheat penny is part of the original Lincoln cent design, which featured the wheat stalks on the reverse from 1909 until 1958. In 1959, to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat stalks with the image of the Lincoln Memorial. Thus, the 1940 penny belongs to an era of American coinage that came to an end in the late 1950s, making it a piece of history for those who collect coins with the wheat reverse design. The 1940 penny's bronze composition is an interesting aspect of its history, especially when considering the changes made just a few years later. In 1943, due to the increased demand for copper during World War II, the U.S. Mint temporarily switched to steel cents, which were coated in zinc. These 1943 steel pennies became a one-year anomaly in the Lincoln cent series. The 1940 penny, made of copper and zinc, was thus one of the last in the pre-war era of standard penny compositions. While most 1940 wheat pennies are not considered rare, they can still be valuable, especially in uncirculated, mint state condition. Coins graded in mint state 65, MS65, or higher are particularly desirable to collectors. Additionally, the S and D mint marks from San Francisco and Denver can sometimes add to a coin's value, particularly if the strike is strong and the coin shows little wear. Error coins, such as those with double strikes or off-center designs, are also prized by numismatists. The 1940 wheat penny is often one of the first coins that novice collectors come across when starting a collection. Its iconic design, historical significance, and availability make it an ideal starting point for those interested in coin collecting. The wheat penny series, in general, is a popular collecting area due to its long run and numerous varieties. The wheat penny, including the 1940 version, represents an important chapter in American history and coinage. The use of Lincoln's image on the obverse not only honored one of the nation's greatest presidents, but also marked a shift in U.S. coin design, paving the way for more modern depictions of influential figures. The wheat penny's reverse design, with its simple wheat stalks, harkens back to a more agrarian America, representing the country's roots. In 1940, the United States was on the brink of a global conflict, and its coins, like the wheat penny, circulated widely during this transformative time. For collectors, these coins are a tangible link to the past, offering insights into both the everyday life and the larger historical forces that shaped the mid-20th century. The 1940 wheat penny is a fascinating coin with a rich history. From its connection to World War II to its iconic design featuring Abraham Lincoln, this penny offers much more than just its face value. Its bronze composition, mint varieties, and collectability make it a beloved item for numismatists, while its historical context gives it enduring significance. Whether you're an experienced collector or just beginning to explore the world of coins, the 1940 wheat penny is a small but meaningful piece of American heritage. Proof. Wheat pennies range in value from $25 for a red and brown coin graded MS60 to $15,000 for a red example graded MS67+. The 1941 wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins minted in U.S. history. Part of the Lincoln cent series, it was struck by the United States Mint from 1909 to 1958 and features two stalks of wheat on the reverse, giving it the nickname wheat penny. The 1941 penny, while not as rare or valuable as some other dates, holds significant historical and numismatic interest. In this essay, we will explore its design, historical context, and some fascinating facts that make it a favorite among collectors. The 1941 wheat penny was minted during an important period in U.S. and global history. The world was engulfed in World War II, and while the U.S. did not enter the conflict until December 1941, the economic and social conditions of the time were heavily influenced by the war. Pennies like the 1941 wheat cent were vital in the economy, as copper and other metals were crucial for the war effort, making every resource valuable. The obverse of the 1941 wheat penny features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This was designed by Victor D. Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. and his portrait has remained on the penny ever since. The portrait is a right-facing bust of Lincoln, showing his profile from the chest upward. The simplicity of the design allows the focus to be on his dignified expression, which represents his significance in American history. In God We Trust. This motto, placed above Lincoln's head, was first introduced on U.S. coins in 1864 and became standard on all U.S. coinage by 1938. It reflects the nation's religious sentiments at the time. Liberty. This word appears to the left of Lincoln's bust and is a traditional element on American coins, signifying the country's core value of freedom. The year 1941. The date of minting is inscribed to the right of Lincoln's portrait. On coins struck at the Denver and San Francisco mints, you'll also see a small mint mark below the date, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. Pennies struck in Philadelphia do not have a mint mark. The reverse of the 1941 wheat penny is known as the wheat ears design, which gives the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. Two stalks of wheat frame the reverse on either side of the central inscriptions. The wheat symbolizes the country's agricultural abundance and prosperity, and it also serves as a reminder of the importance of hard work and farming during the time the coin was minted. 1 cent. The denomination of the coin is boldly stated in the center. United States of America. Below the denomination, this inscription identifies the country of origin. A pluribus unum. Above the denomination is this Latin phrase, which means, out of many, one. It reflects the idea that the United States is made up of many different states and people, yet functions as a unified nation. The 1941 wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This high copper content gives the coin its distinctive reddish-brown appearance. However, the demand for copper during World War II would eventually lead the U.S. Mint to change the composition of the penny in 1943, when it was made from zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for the war effort. Despite the turmoil of the early 1940s, the production numbers for the 1941 penny were remarkably high. Over 887 million pennies were minted that year between the three mints: Philadelphia, 684 million, Denver, 128 million, San Francisco, 92 million. As a result, the 1941 wheat penny is one of the more common dates for collectors, making it affordable even in high grades. The value of a 1941 wheat penny varies based on its condition, mint mark, and rarity of certain varieties. Circulated pennies are typically worth only a few cents, while uncirculated or mint state examples can fetch several dollars, especially those with sharp details and minimal wear. The Denver and San Francisco mint varieties tend to be slightly more valuable, especially in higher grades. Like many coins, the 1941 wheat penny has its share of minting errors and varieties that can greatly increase its value. For example, double die errors, where parts of the design appear to be stamped twice, are highly sought after by collectors. While no major errors are widely known for the 1941 wheat penny, any misstrikes or imperfections can make specific coins significantly more valuable. For many Americans during the 1940s, the penny played a vital role in everyday transactions. Whether used to buy a loaf of bread or saved in a jar, the penny was a common and trusted piece of currency. Its connection to Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most beloved presidents, also added to its sentimental value during a time when the nation faced uncertainty due to the war. The wheat penny design was discontinued in 1958, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. This change marked the end of an era for U.S. coinage, but the wheat penny remains a favorite among numismatists. The 1941 penny, being one of the more common and affordable coins, often serves as a gateway for new collectors who wish to explore U.S. coin history. The 1941 wheat penny is a fascinating coin, not only for its historical significance during the tumultuous years leading up to and during World War II, but also for its iconic design and place in American culture. Though common in the world of coin collecting, the 1941 wheat penny offers a glimpse into a different time in U.S. history and is cherished for its beauty and symbolism. Whether for historical interest or numismatic value, the 1941 wheat penny continues to captivate both casual observers and serious collectors alike. The value of a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny varies based on its condition and mint mark. In circulated condition, It typically ranges from 5 to 20 cents. Uncirculated or mint state pennies can be worth $3 to $5 or more, and highly graded specimens can fetch even higher prices. The 1943 wheat penny is one of the most distinctive and well-known coins in U.S. numismatic history. Known for its unusual material, historical significance, and a few rare and valuable variants, this penny stands out as a fascinating piece of American history. The 1943 edition of the wheat penny was minted during a critical time in the nation's history, World War II, when resource shortages required drastic changes in coin production. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, had been in circulation since 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a bust of Lincoln, while the reverse side includes 2 wheat stalks, symbolizing agricultural abundance. By 1943, the United States was deeply engaged in World War II, and the war effort required vast amounts of copper for ammunition and other military supplies. As a result, the U.S. Mint faced a shortage of copper and needed to find an alternative material to use in penny production. This led to the creation of the famous 1943 steel wheat penny, a coin unlike any other in American history. Obverse design. The obverse of the 1943 wheat penny follows the same design that had been used for Lincoln cents since 1909. It features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, with the word "Liberty" to his left, and the year 1943 to his right. The national motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed along the top edge of the coin. The simple yet iconic design has remained a hallmark of U.S. currency, with Lincoln's portrait still appearing on pennies today. The reverse side of the coin continues the wheat penny's traditional design, with 2 wheat ears surrounding the words "1 cent" and United States of America. The phrase, "a pluribus unum," out of many, one, appears above. The design is straightforward, representing America's agricultural roots and unity. The most interesting aspect of the 1943 wheat penny is its composition. Unlike previous and subsequent pennies, which were primarily made of copper, the 1943 penny was made of steel, coated with a thin layer of zinc. This change in material was necessary because copper was in short supply during the war. The steel core gave the penny a distinct silver-gray appearance, making it easily distinguishable from copper pennies. The 1943 wheat penny was minted at 3 different U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Pennies minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while those produced in Denver have a small D mint mark below the date. Coins minted in San Francisco have an S mint mark in the same location. While the decision to make the penny out of steel helped conserve copper for the war effort, it also created problems. The zinc coating on the steel pennies was prone to wear off over time, exposing the steel underneath. When exposed to moisture, the steel would begin to rust, leading to the deterioration of the coins. This problem made the 1943 steel penny less durable than its copper counterparts, and many circulated examples show signs of rust or pitting. Due to their steel composition, 1943 wheat pennies are magnetic, an unusual feature for U.S. coins. Most other coins produced by the U.S. Mint are not magnetic because they are made from non-ferrous metals such as copper and nickel. The magnetic property of the 1943 penny makes it easy to identify in collections or when sorting through large quantities of coins. While almost all of the 1943 pennies were struck from steel, a very small number, estimated to be between 20 and 40, were mistakenly minted using copper planchets. These rare copper 1943 pennies are some of the most valuable coins in U.S. numismatic history. The error occurred when a few leftover copper planchets from 1942 remained in the minting machines when production switched to steel in 1943. These copper 1943 pennies can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction due to their extreme rarity and historical significance. In another fascinating twist, a few steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally used to mint pennies in 1944. By 1944, the U.S. Mint had returned to using copper, from recycled shell casings, for pennies, but a handful of leftover steel planchets were still in the machines. These 1944 steel pennies are also extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. The 1943 steel wheat penny is relatively common in lower grades, as millions of them were minted and circulated. However, uncirculated or high-grade examples, especially those with a strong zinc coating and no signs of rust, can be worth significantly more to collectors. Steel pennies with mint errors, such as doubled dies or off-center strikes, are particularly valuable. The rare 1943 copper pennies, as mentioned earlier, can sell for astronomical prices. For example, in 2019, a 1943 copper penny was sold for $204,000 at auction. The use of steel for pennies was short-lived. In 1944, the U.S. Mint returned to producing pennies primarily made of copper, using recycled brass shell casings from the war effort. These shell case pennies had a slightly different composition than pre-war copper pennies, but marked a return to the traditional look and feel of the coin. The 1943 steel wheat penny is more than just a coin. It's a snapshot of a crucial moment in U.S. history. It symbolizes the nation's effort to conserve resources during World War II and stands as a reminder of the challenges faced on the home front. Its unusual composition, combined with the rare and valuable copper variants, makes it a favorite among collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Though it was produced out of necessity, the 1943 steel penny has endured as one of the most iconic and memorable coins in U.S. numismatic history. Its uniqueness, both in material and in the historical context in which it was created, ensures that it will remain a topic of interest for generations to come. The 1943 wheat penny is not only a coin, but a piece of history. From its steel composition to the rare copper versions, it tells the story of a nation at war and the ingenuity required to meet the demands of a global conflict. Whether found in a collection or simply passed down through generations, this coin remains a fascinating artifact of the American experience during World War II. The 1943 copper cent is one of the rarest coins in American numismatics and is in high demand among collectors. The estimated value of this era coin ranges from $100,000 to $900,000. One 1943 D copper cent was listed by the Professional Coin Grading Service for $1,500,000.21. The 1944 wheat penny is a fascinating artifact in U.S. numismatic history, mainly because it represents a time of transition and significance during World War II. Pennies minted in 1944 carry historical weight and have captured the attention of collectors and history buffs alike. This essay explores the details of the 1944 wheat penny, along with interesting facts that make it a unique piece of American coinage. The wheat penny, formerly known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to honor the centenary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse of the coin features the famous portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse depicts two stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and the agricultural roots of the nation. This design remained on U.S. pennies from 1909 to 1958. The 1944 wheat penny belongs to the long-running series, but stands out due to the circumstances surrounding its production. In 1943, U.S. pennies were made from zinc-coated steel instead of copper due to the war effort. Copper was a critical resource needed for ammunition, wiring, and other military necessities, so the U.S. Mint sought alternatives. However, the steel pennies of 1943 had issues. They rusted easily, and they were often confused with dimes due to their color. As a result, the U.S. Mint returned to using copper for pennies in 1944, but with a twist. The copper used for the 1944 wheat pennies came from recycled shell casings from World War II battlefields. This gives these pennies a significant connection to the war effort. The shell casings were melted down and combined with other metals to create a bronze alloy, 95% copper and 5% zinc, for the coins. This makes the 1944 penny unique, as it was literally forged from the materials of war. Some of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting involve error coins, and the 1944 wheat penny has its share of notable varieties. While most 1944 pennies were made of copper, a small number were accidentally minted on leftover steel planchets, blanks, from 1943. These 1944 steel pennies are exceptionally rare and valuable. Only a handful of them are known to exist, and they are highly sought after by collectors. In auctions, a 1944 steel penny can fetch tens of thousands of dollars depending on its condition. Another interesting variety is the 1944 D/S mint mark error. Some pennies struck at the Denver Mint, marked by a D under the date, show signs of being struck over a coin originally intended for the San Francisco Mint, marked by an S. This error happened when a San Francisco Mint die was reused at the Denver facility, creating a rare overprint. The 1944 penny had one of the highest mintages of any U.S. coin, with over 1.4 billion pennies produced that year. The mintage was divided among the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, the Denver Mint, D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, S mint mark. Because of this high production volume, most 1944 wheat pennies in circulation today are common and not particularly valuable in circulated condition. However, those in mint condition, especially with unique characteristics like mint errors, can be worth significantly more. For coin collectors, 1944 wheat pennies can be a fun and accessible way to engage with U.S. history. Since many of these pennies were produced, it is not difficult to find one in decent condition. However, collectors are always on the lookout for rarer varieties like the steel penny or the D over S error, which add value and intrigue to a collection. Condition and value. The value of a 1944 wheat penny depends largely on its condition and any unique features. In general, circulated 1944 pennies are worth slightly more than face value, often selling for a few cents to $1. However, uncirculated examples, graded mint state or MS, or those with errors can fetch much higher prices. For instance, a mint condition 1944 D penny could be worth up to $10 to $20, while a rare 1944 steel penny might sell for thousands of dollars at auction. The 1944 wheat penny serves as a testament to a pivotal moment in American history, reflecting both the nation's industrial efforts during wartime and its shift back to peacetime production. It is a coin that tells a story, not just of economic transactions, but of the resilience and resourcefulness of a country at war. The connection to recycled shell casings makes the coin a tangible piece of World War II history, giving it a significance beyond its face value. The 1944 wheat penny is more than just a common coin. It's a piece of American history that symbolizes the ingenuity and determination of the U.S. during World War II. Whether it's the story of its recycled materials, the allure of rare steel variants, or the over-mint errors that excite collectors, this penny continues to fascinate numismatists and historians alike. Despite being over 75 years old, the 1944 wheat penny remains a popular and historically significant part of U.S. coinage. According to our reliable source, a 1944 steel penny in excellent condition can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars or even up to $1 million. The 1945 wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, is a notable coin in American numismatic history. As part of the Lincoln Wheat series, the coin features the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln. This particular coin represents a time in U.S. history marked by the end of World War II, and it carries both historical and cultural significance. Although the 1945 penny is common due to its large mintage, it remains a cherished piece for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. The design of the 1945 wheat penny reflects both American ideals and historical remembrance. On the obverse of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's portrait faces right, with the word "Liberty" to his left, and the motto, "In God We Trust," inscribed above his head. This design, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Lincoln was the first real historical figure to appear on a U.S. coin, replacing the classical Liberty images that had previously adorned American coinage. The choice to feature Lincoln highlighted his importance in American history as the president who preserved the Union during the Civil War and emancipated enslaved people. The reverse of the 1945 penny features two wheat ears framing the words "1 cent" and "United States of America," with the phrase "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one," inscribed above. The wheat ears symbolize agricultural prosperity and the nation's values of growth and productivity. This wheat reverse design was used from 1909 to 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1945 wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, 5% zinc and tin. This composition had been standard for pennies since 1864, but it was interrupted in 1943 when the U.S. Mint produced pennies made from steel coated in zinc to save copper for the war effort during World War II. However, this steel penny was unpopular because it rusted and could be mistaken for dimes. The copper composition was reinstated in 1944, and the 1945 wheat penny followed this traditional formula. 3 different U.S. mints produced the 1945 penny: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of these coins, with over 1 billion pennies minted in 1945 alone. Denver and San Francisco combined produced over 500 million more. The sheer volume of these coins means they are relatively common today, even in circulated condition. While the 1945 wheat penny is not considered rare in general, some error coins from that year have become highly sought after by collectors. One of the more interesting errors is the off-center strike, where the design of the coin is struck outside of its normal boundaries, creating a partial image. Another valuable error is the doubled die, in which the design appears to be doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These error coins can fetch a significant premium in the numismatic market. Another variation collectors look for is the difference in mint marks. Coins minted in Denver and San Francisco are distinguished by their respective D and S mint marks, located just below the date. While the Philadelphia version without a mint mark is the most common, coins from the Denver and San Francisco mints are still widely available, with only slight premiums for uncirculated or well-preserved examples. The year 1945 is especially significant in world history, as it marked the end of World War II. As the war came to a close in both Europe and the Pacific, the 1945 wheat penny was in circulation, carrying the symbolic weight of an era defined by conflict, sacrifice, and eventual victory. The return to copper pennies in 1944 and 1945 reflected the nation's shift from wartime scarcity to peacetime recovery, as copper and other metals were no longer needed solely for military purposes. The 1945 wheat penny serves as a reminder of the resilience and perseverance of the United States during a time of global crisis. Many Americans, both on the home front and overseas, handled these pennies as they participated in the war effort, supported their families, or celebrated the end of the conflict. As such, these coins can be seen as artifacts of a pivotal moment in history. Despite being common in circulated condition, 1945 wheat pennies are still popular among collectors, especially those interested in completing a full Lincoln wheat cent collection. Most 1945 pennies found today are heavily circulated and hold little more than their face value, though those in mint condition or with significant errors can be more valuable. The value of a 1945 wheat penny largely depends on its condition. Coins in circulated condition typically sell for around 10 to 20 cents, while uncirculated coins, which have not been used in commerce and retain their original mint luster, can be worth more. For example, a 1945 penny in uncirculated condition with a high grade can be valued at $5 to $10 or more. Coins with notable mint errors or especially well-preserved proof versions can command even higher prices at auction or in coin shops. The Lincoln wheat penny, and by extension the 1945 edition, is a beloved coin among collectors and historians for its connection to Abraham Lincoln and its representation of an era in American history. Lincoln remains one of the most revered figures in American history, and his image on the penny serves as a constant reminder of his contributions to the nation's ideals of freedom and unity. Furthermore, the wheat stalks on the reverse of the coin evoke the agricultural roots of the United States, symbolizing the nation's growth, strength, and reliance on its people. These themes resonate even today, making the 1945 wheat penny a small but meaningful emblem of American resilience and prosperity. The 1945 wheat penny is more than just a copper coin. It is a piece of American history, commemorating both a revered president and a significant period of global upheaval. Its design, historical context, and collectability make it a fascinating subject for numismatists and history enthusiasts alike. While not rare, this coin carries the weight of its era, symbolizing the end of World War II and America's return to peace. Today, the 1945 wheat penny continues to be a cherished artifact of a defining moment in the nation's story. Most 1945 wheat cents produced in Philadelphia are affordable, and most are worth 25 cents to 55 cents. However, highly graded red specimens often reach $180 to $220, except for rare and valuable MS-68 ranking pieces. The 1946 wheat penny is an interesting and valuable coin for many collectors due to its history, design, and variations. It was minted just after World War II, and its composition, historical context, and sometimes rare variations make it a notable piece in U.S. coinage. Here are some key facts and points of interest about the 1946 wheat penny. The obverse of 1946. Wheat penny, like all Lincoln cents from 1909 to 1958, features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. It was designed by Victor David Brenner, and the initials VDB can be found under Lincoln's shoulder on some early versions of the penny. The reverse design showcases two stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and abundance, giving the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Between the wheat ears is the denomination 1 cent and the inscription United States of America. Above these words is the phrase e pluribus unum, Latin for out of many one. The 1946 wheat penny was among the first cents minted after the end of World War II. During the war, from 1943, pennies were made from steel instead of copper to conserve metal for the war effort. By 1946, copper returned as the primary material for pennies. The coin is composed of 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, the same composition used before the war. The 1946 wheat penny was produced at 3 U.S. mints: No Mint Mark, Denver Mint, D Mint Mark, San Francisco Mint, S Mint Mark. The Philadelphia version, lacking a mint mark, is the most common, while the D and S mint-marked coins are slightly rarer and more desirable to collectors. In well-worn, circulated condition, a 1946 wheat penny is generally worth around 3 to 10 cents, depending on the condition. Uncirculated or mint condition examples, especially those with red luster, coins that still retain their original mint color, can range from $5 to $20 or more, depending on the specific quality and mint mark. Some error coins, like those with double die errors or other minting anomalies, can fetch significantly higher prices. Some 1946 wheat pennies have errors like the double die variety, where the design or inscriptions appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These are rare and highly sought after. In some cases, mint marks were hand-punched into the dies, and if they were punched more than once, this created a re-punched mint mark, RPM, which adds value to the coin. The 1946 wheat penny is part of the larger Lincoln wheat cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These pennies are popular among collectors because of their historical significance, aesthetic design, and the variations available across different years and mints. The 1946 wheat penny represents a time of transition in American history, as the country was moving from a war economy back to peacetime. The return to the original copper composition for pennies in 1946 was a symbolic return to normalcy after the rationing and shortages of wartime. While the 1946 wheat penny may not be an especially rare coin, its post-war context, design, and collectible varieties make it an interesting and important piece of U.S. numismatic history. Collectors seek higher-grade versions or error coins, which can command higher values in the market. The value of a 1946 wheat penny can range from a few cents to over $1,000, depending on its condition and color. Higher-grade examples, especially those with a red coloration, can command prices from around $1,000 to $14,000. The 1947 wheat penny is a remarkable coin, not only because it is part of the beloved Lincoln wheat cent series, but also because of its historical context and unique characteristics. The Lincoln wheat penny series, minted from 1909 to 1958, is a favorite among coin collectors, and the 1947 edition is no exception. Although not considered particularly rare, this coin is a window into post-World War II America, and has interesting details both in its design and in the economic environment of the time. The 1947 wheat penny, like all Lincoln wheat pennies, features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. This design was created by Victor David Brenner, a well-known sculptor and engraver, and it has remained on the penny since 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's centennial birthday. His bust is accompanied by the word Liberty and the year of minting, 1947, as well as the motto, In God We Trust. On the reverse side, the penny has two sheaves of wheat, hence the name wheat penny, which symbolize prosperity and growth. The phrase 1 cent is centered, surrounded by the words United States of America, and the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design remained in circulation until 1958, after which the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial. The 1947 wheat penny was minted in large quantities in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. Collectors particularly seek out the pennies with mint marks, as some variations of the coin can have distinct features. For example, a 1947 D or 1947 S penny might have subtle differences in the strike quality, or minor errors that occurred during production, adding value to the coin. In terms of total mintage, millions of 1947 pennies were produced, making them relatively common among Lincoln wheat cents. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 190 million pennies, while Denver produced about 194 million, and San Francisco roughly 99 million. While circulated examples of these pennies are easily available, uncirculated and mint condition examples are far more valuable and sought after by collectors. The year 1947 was a time of significant economic adjustment in the United States. The nation was transitioning from a wartime economy, with factories shifting from producing military supplies to consumer goods. The penny itself, being made of copper and zinc, reflects the changes that occurred due to material shortages during World War II. For a brief period in 1943, the U.S. Mint issued steel pennies to conserve copper for war efforts, but by 1947, copper production had resumed. Copper was still an essential material in the post-war economy, used extensively in wiring and electronics as new industries expanded. The penny, though small in value, was part of everyday commerce, as inflation had not yet significantly devalued the purchasing power of coins. The 1947 wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. The price of copper has fluctuated significantly over the years, leading to discussions about the cost of minting pennies being higher than their actual face value in the modern era. However, back in 1947, the penny was still affordable to produce and held its purchasing power. The 1947 wheat penny is an interesting coin both in terms of its design and its historical context. It reflects a time of post-war recovery in the U.S., and while it is not among the rarest coins, it holds significance for collectors and historians alike. Its copper composition, design longevity, and the sheer number produced make it a fascinating part of American coinage. For coin enthusiasts, the hunt for pristine examples or rare errors makes the 1947 wheat penny a cherished part of any collection. The 1947 S wheat penny value ranges from under $1,000 to upwards of $5,000 for the higher grades available on the market. The wheat penny comes in colors ranging from brown to brown red to red, with the full red versions typically commanding a higher price than the other colors. The 1948 wheat penny, also known as a Lincoln cent, is an intriguing coin for collectors and historians alike. Part of the wheat penny series minted from 1909 to 1958, this specific coin carries not only monetary value, but also historical significance. Understanding its characteristics, including the details of the obverse and reverse, provides insight into the design choices and the coin's enduring appeal. The obverse of the 1948 wheat penny features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait of Lincoln has graced the penny since 1909, commemorating the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Brenner's design was revolutionary in that it marked the first time a U.S. president's portrait was used on a circulating coin. The image of Lincoln on the obverse is highly detailed. The bust captures Lincoln in a dignified pose, facing right, with his shoulders slightly visible. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty, while the date, 1948, appears to the right of Lincoln's profile. The phrase, "In God We Trust," is inscribed in a semicircle above Lincoln's head. One interesting fact about the obverse is that Lincoln's portrait is considered one of the most recognized and longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. Brenner's initials, VDB, are present on the coin, but only subtly. They appear at the base of Lincoln's shoulder on some issues, though they were famously removed from the original 1909 version due to public complaints about the initials being too prominent. The reverse of the 1948 wheat penny features the famous wheat ears design, also created by Victor David Brenner. This design was used from 1909 to 1958 and consists of two stylized ears of wheat, one on each side of the reverse, framing the central inscriptions. The reverse inscriptions include the words 1 cent in large lettering at the center, with United States of America directly below it. Above the denomination is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, one. The use of wheat stalks is symbolic of America's agricultural heritage, and the simple, clean design remains popular with collectors due to its aesthetic appeal and historical significance. An interesting fact about the reverse design is that the wheat stalks were intended to represent the strength and resilience of American agriculture, a nod to the country's largely agrarian economy at the time of the coin's initial minting in 1909. This design was eventually replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. But the wheat penny reverse continues to hold nostalgic value for many collectors. The 1948 wheat penny is made of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% being a mixture of tin and zinc. This composition was standard for pennies during most of the early 20th century, with the exception of the 1943 steel cent, which was struck due to wartime copper shortages during World War II. By 1948, production had returned to normal, and the copper-based penny resumed its place in circulation. The coin was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced the most coins, with a mintage of over 317 million, while the Denver and San Francisco mints produced significantly fewer, with around 172 million and 81 million coins respectively. Coins from the San Francisco Mint tend to be more sought after due to their lower mintage numbers, though none of the 1948 wheat pennies are particularly rare. The 1948 wheat penny is generally considered common, but its condition and specific minting location can affect its worth. Circulated coins in average condition may only be worth a few cents more than their face value, while uncirculated or mint state examples can fetch significantly higher prices from collectors. The grading system used by coin collectors plays a major role in determining the value, with coins in better condition, higher grades, being more desirable. For example, a 1948 penny in pristine condition with an S mint mark could be worth several dollars or more, especially if it is graded at MS 65 or higher, mint state. The 1948 wheat penny, though not exceedingly rare, holds a special place in American numismatic history. Its iconic design, with Lincoln on the obverse and wheat ears on the reverse, captures the cultural and historical values of the United States during the first half of the 20th century. Whether valued for its historical significance, its design, or its collectible nature, the 1948 wheat penny remains a favorite among coin enthusiasts. The 1948 wheat penny value ranges from less than $100 to upwards of $2,000 for some of the higher mint state grades available on the market. 1948, no mint mark, wheat penny, MS 67 worth $5,000.
The 1949 wheat penny is one of the many coins in the long-running Lincoln wheat cent series, which was minted from 1909 to 1958. It holds a special place in the hearts of coin collectors and history enthusiasts alike, due to its role in the everyday life of Americans in the mid-20th century, its subtle design nuances, and its copper composition. Though not especially rare, the 1949 wheat penny is nonetheless a fascinating artifact, with unique historical and numismatic significance. The wheat penny, also called the Lincoln wheat cent, was designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse front side, marking the first time a U.S. coin bore the likeness of a real person. This change reflected a new approach to coinage, one that honored the national heritage by highlighting one of the country's greatest leaders. The reverse side of the wheat penny is characterized by 2 stalks of wheat framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. These wheat stalks symbolize prosperity, an especially meaningful choice as the coin was introduced in 1909 during a time when the U.S. economy was beginning to assert itself as a global power. The 1949 wheat penny maintained this classic design, which was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design, leaving collectors nostalgic for the simple yet symbolic wheat sheaves. In 1949, wheat pennies were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The 1949 wheat penny is not particularly rare, but that doesn't mean they are without value. Collectors prize coins in higher grades of preservation, such as mint state, MS conditions, which can still fetch premiums depending on the mint mark and the condition of the coin. The 1949 wheat penny, like most pennies minted before 1982, is composed primarily of copper, with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This copper composition is interesting from a historical standpoint because of its intrinsic metal value. Over time, the price of copper has increased significantly, making older pennies, including those from 1949, worth more than their face value based on metal content alone. The copper cent became an object of interest during World War II when the U.S. Mint briefly switched to steel for penny production in 1943 to conserve copper for the war effort. After the war, the copper composition was restored, but the events of the war years increased awareness of the coin's material and historical value. This sense of scarcity and utility lingers, even though the 1949 wheat penny is mostly valuable in numismatic circles. One aspect that excites collectors is the possibility of finding error coins, those that were struck with imperfections. Some known varieties of 1949 wheat pennies include double dies and repunched mint marks. Double dies occur when the coin's design is mistakenly stamped twice, causing a noticeable doubling of letters, numbers, or features on the coin. These errors can add significant value to the coin, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. Similarly, repunched mint marks, RPMs, occur when the mint mark, such as the D for Denver or S for San Francisco, is struck more than once, but slightly off-center. Collectors love these variations, and some 1949 wheat pennies featuring RPMs can sell for substantially higher prices than regular coins. While the 1949 wheat penny is not a rare coin in general circulation, it remains a popular choice for collectors, particularly those trying to complete a full set of Lincoln wheat cents. A key factor that influences the value of the coin is its condition. Coins that have seen little wear and tear are more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. Grading systems, such as those developed by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, assess a coin's condition on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded as mint state, MS 65 or higher, can be worth several dollars or more, depending on the specific mint mark and demand. Despite being over 70 years old, the 1949 wheat penny is still found in circulation from time to time, though less frequently than in the past. The San Francisco mint coins with the S mark are generally more valuable in higher grades than those from the Philadelphia or Denver mints due to their lower mintage numbers. With its high copper content, a 1949 wheat penny's metal value alone can exceed 1 cent, especially when copper prices are high. The late 1940s and early 1950s represent the final years of the Lincoln wheat cent, making these pennies a nostalgic and historic collector's item. If you come across a 1949 wheat penny with a double die or repunched mint mark, it could be significantly more valuable than a standard version. The 1949 wheat penny might not be the rarest coin in American history, but its design, history, and subtle varieties make it a fascinating object of study for numismatists and history enthusiasts alike. Whether you're drawn to its copper composition, its iconic design, or the chance to find a valuable error coin, the 1949 wheat penny continues to spark interest, decades after its minting. The value of a 1949 wheat penny varies based on its condition and mint mark. Circulated coins are generally worth a few cents to a few dollars. Uncirculated coins in pristine condition can fetch $1 to $20, with premium grades, MS-67 or higher, potentially reaching $100 or more.